It is the 41st millennium.
Hello folks, in today's video we are discussing the tactical class. We'll be going through one entire game, commentating throughout, and I will pause often. Whilst I'd like to keep these videos short so they are more easily digested, I do want to also remain thorough. The goal behind these videos is to give an insight into an experienced player's mindset. I'll explain what I'm thinking and why, and the process behind decision making. After maxing each individual class, I do now have a range of Eternal War guides, including class guides, as well as a lot of the melee mechanics and PvP in general, so do feel free to check out the channel. Now to get started, we have one full game to go through. We are playing as the tactical, game mode is Seize Ground, and we're on the Bastion map. I am working on individual videos for game modes and maps, so we won't cover this aspect too much, but I'm sure I'll bring it up a few times throughout. Now I use headphones whilst playing. They basically offer a proximity audio, meaning we can hear footsteps, abilities, etc. from not very far away. This helps with not being flanked, setting up ambushes, etc. We're running the heavy bolt rifle as the tactical today. In my opinion, it's overall the most solid pick. It can out-sustain other guns in firefights due to its magazine size. It can handle itself at all ranges, but mid-range is where it thrives, as it generally doesn't get outmatched, often when at mid-range. As soon as the game begins, we naturally push our home objective first. From here, we resupply on grenades despite already having one. We're choosing to run a wide flank here, so we're just tucking in to listen out for any enemies first. We don't hear anything, so we push forward. This can be a great corner to flank enemies from, but no one is here currently. We wouldn't usually cut through this area due to high enemy activity, but we're staying very vigilant to listen out for enemies, and we're hoping to get directly behind anyone pushing into B. This flank resulted in nothing, so we choose to move into B whilst overwatching the fight that has moved closer to the other side. Despite not being targeted, we're still getting into solid cover. We flank this vanguard, but they just get out of the way. As we're about to press for the kill, we're interrupted by an assault slam. We want to get away from the assault immediately, as follow-up melee will kill us pretty quickly. This isn't great as we have our back to them. Our best option is the shot grenade and gain vision. Whilst gunning down the assault, we hope allies assist with the enemy vanguard, but we still try to get to good ground for when we win this fight. It almost works, but unfortunately, we are just clipped. Upon respawning, we see D is safe for now, B is contested and we're losing overall. We can either push A or contest B with our team. For now, we feel the safer option is to assist our team and gain some overall momentum. We notice assaults pretty early, so we decide to keep back and give ourselves good vision as to support the team and also keep ourselves out of slamming range. We push into B as soon as possible to start capping. We pop our all-spec scan behind in an attempt to check for possible flanks. Once capping, we hold this point but widen out so we have better vision. We catch two assaults who fail to act fast enough and we take full advantage. We stay moving here as we know enemies are close but we don't know where. We begin scouting as we move and take some fire from behind. We immediately tuck into cover and begin preparing to counter. Upon seeing the banner, we feel somewhat safer pushing open areas, but upon tucking back into cover, we are flanked. Upon respawning again, we have the same two options as before. We decide to continue pushing B as we see it's contested and we've nearly evened out the score. We check for any flanks on our way. We don't push into B as we see very little team presence and we know the enemy has two assaults. We hold this cover whilst assisting and evaluating the situation. As we take return fire, we hear an assault behind us. We don't know if it's friendly or not, so we push further into safer ground. As soon as we know that we're all clear, we push back into the same position to assist our ally. We auspex the cover on the other side of B as to reveal more enemies. It would be suicide to push this many enemies on our own, so we decide to wait for teammates. Whilst we wait, we resupply our grenades. Whilst resupplying, we hear and notice an ally die not far behind us. We take care of this and we get back to our plan. Whilst returning, we hear enemies to our left. If we choose to ignore this, they would be entering the fight at B sooner and possibly flanking us quite soon too. We choose to engage them, but upon seeing their numbers, we know we need to be very evasive here. We commit to this kill as the backup is an assault without a primary. It's a risky play, but we get away with it. We head into safer ground whilst resupplying. We're winging it here a little bit, but it felt natural to circle back around to this fight. Nothing comes of this, so we choose to assist at B due to seeing it's still contested. We are flanked from behind and head to the best cover we have available. Upon tucking in, we see the enemy assault go airborne. It's very likely they intend to slam us here, so we do the best we can by evading and grenading our location. It's not much, but it might save an ally or two once we have died. Once again, we choose to assist at B due to it still being contested. We simply hold and overwatch from here. Someone needs to peel the assaults off our team, and we're in a relatively good position to do so. We miss our Auspex here, but the intention is to hit the cover on the other end of B to provide recon. We see allies taking ground and enemies are just out of preferable range for us, so we choose to push in as to put pressure on the enemy team. This works perfectly and we're able to cap B as the sole survivor of the fight. Our positioning was important here. Had we have pressed in sooner, we very well could have been targeted by the enemy assaults. Tactical is a great class for overwatching fights exactly like this. Once we cap B, we choose to resupply before wanting to engage in any more fights. We can see D is now being contested. We know our team is very likely to push this themselves, so we choose this moment to potentially backdoor and distract the enemy team. This can interrupt the flow of enemies pushing B, which can give our team better odds. It does put quite some pressure on ourselves though. We push this corner as we hear enemies on the other side. We failed to secure this kill, but the grenade will likely finish them off if they push this corner. We tuck in at the back, but unfortunately we're flanked and have to take for cover ASAP. The enemy is faster than we'd like, and ultimately we don't have any options here. Upon respawning, we choose to reinforce B yet again. We see an ally engaged here, so we Auspex for recon. For now, we don't feel great about pushing A on our own. Given we have B and enemies are definitely on the way, we attempt to check for them, maybe distracting them and thinning the flow of enemies at B. This doesn't result in much, so we head back around to B to capitalize on the fight. As we're assisting with the assault, we take sniper fire to begin heading to cover. It's all down to the sniper's aim here, to be honest, and we did get lucky. We choose to hold this corner here as we know the sniper will want long sightlines and may have gone invisible. We just spot them and choose to take this fight. It's great range for us. They have poor cover and very slow firing speed, so we can back out if needed. We swing back around to B despite our low health and armor. We just want to overwatch and keep our head down here, but we are unfortunately flanked by an enemy vanguard. Like clockwork, upon respawning, we push B for the same reasons as before. We engage these enemies here and they decide to play defensive. We don't really want to push them. We know there's a lot of enemies present, so we grenade and begin to reposition. Seeing how well the grenade placement was, we immediately change our mind and head back as to take advantage of enemies forced out of cover. We do secure a kill from this. We hold this corner here as we have great vision and shoulder advantage. We pre-fire here to hit the vanguard if they peek cover, but we kill an unscanned enemy as well. When tucking into cover to reload, we see an ally using melee on the other side of this wall, so we know they're most definitely engaged with an enemy. So as we swing this corner, we aim at them as fast as possible as to save our ally. From here, we tuck into cover to continue overwatching B. We push mostly out of thinking there's only one enemy present. We try to retreat once we see the assault, but we're already in too deep. We decide to do something a little bit different here. We're getting frustrated with the stalemate and want to secure a nice flank as to relieve some of the pressure the enemy is putting on B. We grenade here as we're about to grab two more and we never know. When coming into flank, we hear footsteps, so we hold this cover and get ready to shoot first. We push the sniper due to their low health. We grenade out of instinct due to enemy numbers. We want all the advantages here as possible. We have to abandon this kill or risk dying. We try to make up for this but fail. Given that our position is given away, we decide to push towards A and to be a distraction above all else. We hear enemies closing in, so we grenade and Auspex in order to counter. We immediately resupply grenades and then push into A to at least deny the enemy team points. The intention here is to dodge backwards, but upon seeing we were moments away from at least denying the enemy points at A, we commit to less desirable cover, but we do briefly deny some points. We do attempt to blind with shocks, but we're just too late. Upon respawning, we see B contested as usual, so decide to try and help out. We take fire from our left, so decide to try and be evasive. We do unfortunately land in this shock grenade and panic as a result. It is what it is. Upon respawning, we're getting a little bit frustrated due to not being able to balance the score or gain a lead. We take the safest option of overwatching B to support our team, but we are flanked and killed before doing much. Upon respawning again, we see allies successfully pushing A. This does give us some motivation and morale, so we decide to push B as hard as possible in an attempt to level the score or gain a lead. We play tit for tat here, hoping the enemy makes a mistake we can capitalize on. We grow frustrated and decide a very risky play due to knowing we can most definitely at least secure this kill. It is a silly play out of frustration, but it can happen. Upon respawning, we can see allies are still keeping enemies busy at A, so we try to push B once again. We stay close to this heavy for additional support. Once we cap B, we see enemies secure A, and thus they will be here any second. We try to get into a sneaky ambush position, but they appear just a little bit too early. We scramble to cover and begin firing back. We hold this corner as best we can, trying to reposition somewhere better once we have an opportunity. We commit here when in hindsight we had opportunity for a grenade. We were super focused and feeling a bit desperate. Again, it happens. Right at the end here, we have two objectives to the enemy's one. The score is hard to gauge, but we look like we can just claw this back. Knowing this, we push blindly into B just to interrupt the enemy's points. Miraculously, we do hold for just long enough to take the lead and secure the win. Naturally, this game had some wild highs and lows. It was a very satisfying win when all was said and done, but at some points it did feel hopeless. I'm happy with this match because it highlights how to overwatch correctly on team fights. We don't make many risky plays and we consistently do our best to keep enemies at our preferred range. We could have done well flanking A as a tactical, however it didn't work out much in this particular match and we did feel way more effective at B instead. That's it for this one, folks. I have a range of Eternal War guides already, so feel free to check out the channel. I'm working on commentary videos for all classes. I'll prioritize additional classes before releasing any more tactical or assault. For anyone interested, we will likely be covering the Stalker 2 game going forward, which does release on Xbox Game Pass next week. I've never played a Stalker game before, but I do have experience in the likes of the Metro series and a long list of survival games, so I'm looking forward to see what we can do with Stalker 2. We will still be covering Eternal War. Aside from the map and game mode videos that I'm currently working on, I will continue to release commentary videos, and then we will be covering any new content we receive over the foreseeable future. So keep an eye out for plenty more videos. Thanks for watching, folks, and until next time, peace.